So you feel stuck in life. You have great ambitions and goals, but you don't know how to accomplish them. Every time you want to sit down and work on your business or study for that test, your mind just feels blank and you end up not being able to do it. And if this is you, listen very closely. People think they lack knowledge or energy, but it's actually your focus that you're lacking. Because the biggest robbery in our modern day is your focus. The average attention span of a person nowadays is less than of a goldfish, genuinely. Because someone who can focus easily can just hone in and easily get the knowledge they need to accomplish their goal. And if you're able to focus, you can start to enjoy the activity. So this is where the dopamine detox comes in. Now you might have heard of this before, but this is how it applies to students and how you can use it to rewire your brain for success. Your focus is being robbed. Acknowledge that. Let's see, this is probably you. You sit down to do some work and then you put your phone on the desk and then you split your monitor in two and have YouTube playing on one side. You tune into a Twitch stream, you have rap music playing at 100 volume and your phone notifications start ringing and you wonder why you can't get the task done that's in front of you. So what's happening to our dopamine levels right now? Since everything is going short form, it's becoming harder and harder for us to fix our focus on one thing, hence why you feel stuck. How can a book or an assignment compete with TikToks or shorts when you're being shown new content every couple of seconds? And the dopamine detox has been given a bad name online because everyone does it as a kind of challenge and just for content, when in fact it's not about a challenge, it's about change. First ask yourself, what's the purpose of you for doing a dopamine detox? What do you want to get out of it? What's going to happen if you don't gain your focus back? Maybe if you're sick of not being able to get things done, you find yourself always drawn to your phone and you want to start reading but you just can't find the will to. I recently did a dopamine detox where I quit social media for a week, and if you haven't seen that video, watch it here. And the purpose of this for me was because I felt stuck and I felt that my work, writing scripts for YouTube, revising for tests, was all being slowed down and I couldn't focus on things. Whether it was talking to my parents or doing things like practicing instruments, I'd just always feel distracted and not in the moment. I'd always be thinking of something else. So I was afraid that if this continued, I'd be unable to complete tasks and do things that were meaningful to me, such as my business and studying for tests. And that I'd just become more and more empty and keep living in my phone. So this has the potential to change your life, but just because it has potential doesn't mean that it will. You have to decide and internalize for you why you want to do a dopamine detox. Because for someone it could be that they can't read books for their school, whereas for someone it could just be the prospects of in the future not being able to be present with their family and talk to their children. And this acts as your motivation to change. So find out what you want to do. The first step of the detox is the great cleanse. And this is the point where you need to decide what you're going to cut out of your life. And this is the step a lot of people mess up also, because they leave exceptions and the exceptions grow and grow until it's not a dopamine detox anymore. So the first thing you need to cut out are binge texts. Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube Shorts, all gone. Because these are all short form content that don't benefit you in any way and you just simply use it as a means of escape. For YouTube, if you're going to use it on your desktop, use it meaningfully. Use Unhook. Search up Unhook YouTube, install it and toggle on these settings so that your YouTube looks like this. And now you can start using it for your advantage, not letting them take advantage of you. The next thing are video games, anime and Netflix. These are all things that give you pleasure because you're working on something else. In video games, you're leveling up your character. In anime, you're investing in their timeline. In Netflix, you're watching shows that are fun. But these are all things that just give you cheap dopamine. But dopamine isn't even just limited to consuming content. Consumables, junk food. What we put into our bodies is what we are. Junk food is bad in so many different ways because it reduces your mood, reduces cognitive function, and this alteration of dopamine by having sugary snacks are counterintuitive to our dopamine detox when we're trying to put the bar back down. But the crazy part is that you don't need me to be giving you this checklist about what you can keep or not. You know. Right now, go through all the things that I've mentioned and just subtly notice what your brain has an excuse to. Maybe it's anime, porn, or junk food. There's one thing right now that you're skeptical about and you're defending. Video games are actually healthy, you know. Hand-eye coordination. I need junk food because it's sugar and everyone needs sugar to function properly. I need to watch porn because it gives me a testosterone boost for the gym. And by your mind making excuses and coping, that just shows how down bad you are for it. And that's the thing you need to get rid of the most. No exceptions. So for how long? I'd say 7 days minimum. Because your body is overstimulated right now and so it got desensitized. I remember when I first downloaded TikTok, and many of you can probably relate. I'd found everything really funny, genuinely. I'd be laughing and I'd just having a good time. But now you've seen so many TikToks, hundreds of thousands, millions of TikToks. You can agree that it's just not the same anymore and you don't even find the experience enjoyable. It's just a habit and you're using it as a cover for your emptiness, so you just scroll and scroll and letting out the modern day laugh. 7 days is the time that it takes for our bodies and dopamine receptors to go back to normal. And people don't explain this a lot of the time. They just say your dopamine receptors have been fried by social media, ha. But really the science behind it is that your body's been exposed to too much dopamine, that your body has to quite literally reduce the number of receptors to balance out the dopamine that's in your body. So it causes desensitization. Homeostasis, winks in biology. At the execution, you're going to be bored. And normally when you're bored, the first instinct is to just reach out on your phone and just burn a couple of hours. But when you reach out for your phone, there's going to be nothing there now. That's what I felt when I deleted social media in this video. You might be saying now, if I cut out all the pleasures in my life's going to be so boring and bad. We need fun, yes, but we're forgetting everything else that releases dopamine. Talking with people, reading a book, learning an instrument, mastering a skill. These are all forms of dopamine that take longer to achieve and seem strenuous because our mind, our brains will always choose the easier path. If we can get dopamine from just scrolling instead of talking to people or getting good at something, which is what we used to have to do, we're never going to do the harder thing. So we have to recondition our brain to healthy alternatives of dopamine. So go exercise or learn something. These things don't seem attractive anymore since you can just scroll, but these are the things that will give you the most happiness. After the 7-day period is up, it's time for restoration. Sure, you could delete every single app and never use any app again, but I don't think that's necessary because the goal of dopamine detox is to regain control of our minds. It's about being intentional about what we consume. We can grow back stronger. We wiped our slate clean and we reset the bar back to normal, but we can become a better person from this. So ask yourself what kind of person you want to be and remember back to the purpose of which you started dopamine detox with, and ask yourself what that person would be doing with their time. And actually I did reinstall Instagram because I had friends whom I needed to keep in contact with who don't use anything else, but I made sure that was the sole purpose. I don't use Reels however, and Snapchat, TikTok, Twitter, etc. have all stayed deleted because it simply just doesn't serve me a purpose and the person that I want to be. And I've set a time limit for Instagram as well, just to make sure that I get the value I need, not the value I want. You have to put that much thought behind everything you want to add, and don't mindlessly add things and regret it when you become addicted. And now you can see in this day where we need our focus the most, it's the hardest time to stay focused with all these distractions floating around. But now you know how to do a dopamine detox correctly as a student to rewire your brain for success. I believe in you.